I have $1,000 in savings. I'm 34 years old. I'm a photographer. I made $201,000 last year shooting ad campaigns, weddings, and licensing old work. And I am the primary parent for a 7-year-old who thinks money is what you use to buy Hot Wheels and Dino Nuggets. My name is Marco. I live in Wicker Park. This is my budget. Okay, income, let's go. I am self-employed. There is no W-2, there is no HR department, there is no one with a clipboard telling me I maxed out my 401k. It's just me, my cameras, my laptop, and a collection of invoices that I send to ad agencies and brands and the occasional very rich family who wants 800 photos of their wedding in Door County. My gross income last year was $201,000. Here's where it came from. Commercial photography, ad campaigns, product shoots, editorial work for brands, about $155,000. I've been doing this for 10 years. I have a few agencies in the Loop and River North that call me when they need someone who can actually light a room, not just point a phone at something. Wedding and event photography, $28,000. I do maybe 6 to 8 high-end weddings a year. I take them selectively because I have a kid, and shooting a 12-hour wedding in Geneva, Illinois is its own psychological event. But the rate is good, and the couples are usually very nice and very stressed. And I like helping people feel like their day mattered. Licensing fees on prior work, $18,000. This is the part people don't know about photography. I have old images, a campaign I shot 3 years ago that brands still pay to use. Every year I get checks for work I did in a different apartment in a different phase of my life. I love those checks. They are the only passive income I have, and I guard them like a small treasure. Total gross income, $201,000. Now, here's the part where being self-employed turns into a whole thing. Monthly gross is $16,750. Business expenses come off the top. Cameras, lenses, lighting equipment, Adobe Creative Cloud, Lightroom, my storage unit in Ukrainian Village where I keep the gear, my editing laptop, a portion of my rent for the home office corner where I do post-production, gas for client shoots, and the assistant I hire for the bigger commercial jobs, all deductible. Total business deductions run about $38,000 a year, which is $3,167 a month. That number sounds big, but trust me, gear breaks, gear gets stolen, gear needs to be replaced, and Adobe charges me $62 a month just to edit my own photos. It's fine. After business expenses, my net self-employment income is $163,000. Now, self-employment tax. This is the one that hurts. Because I don't have an employer splitting payroll taxes with me, I pay both sides of Social Security and Medicare. That's 15.3%. On my net income, that's about $23,000 a year, $1,919 a month. Every month, I transfer that into a separate account and pretend it doesn't exist until I have to write the check. This is the discipline. SEPIRA contribution. This is my version of a 401k. Self-employed people can put in up to 25% of net income, and I've set a standing transfer of $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. My accountant told me to do this in 2022, and it is the one financial instruction I have followed with any consistency. Go me. Federal income taxes. After the standard deduction, I'm paying about $22,700 a year in federal taxes. That's about $1,894 a month. I'm in the 24% marginal bracket, which I still find remarkable to say out loud for someone who grew up in Humboldt Park. Illinois state income tax, flat rate, 4.95%. No brackets, no surprises. About $6,900 a year. $575 a month. No city income tax. Chicago doesn't have one, which is the one thing I will defend about this city when my cousin in New York calls to complain about his paycheck. After all of that, business expenses, self-employment tax, retirement, federal, state, my net monthly take home is $8,195. I know what you're thinking. 200 grand in, 8,000 out. Welcome to self-employment. Welcome to Illinois. Welcome to my life. Annual take home, $98,340. Monthly take home, $8,195. Rent. I live in a 2-bedroom in Wicker Park, a vintage graystone on Evergreen, which is a street that sounds peaceful and is actually a street where someone's dog woke me up at 3 a.m. last Tuesday. The 2-bedroom is $2,700 a month. People ask me why I don't get a 1-bedroom and let Mateo sleep on a pullout. Mateo is 7 and he has opinions about everything, and a bedroom is not negotiable. Groceries, $380 a month. I shop at Pete's Fresh Market on Chicago Avenue, which is an extremely underrated grocery store that I will die on this hill for. Occasionally, I go to Whole Foods on Halsted and leave $50 lighter and angrier than when I arrived. I cook maybe 12 times a month. The other 18 days are covered in the bonus section. Utilities, $180 a month. Electric, gas, internet. Xfinity, unfortunately, they are the only option in my building, which is a monopoly and a crime, and I have filed exactly 0 complaints about it because I don't have time. Student loans, 0. I did not go to college. I learned photography by assisting a commercial photographer named Dennis for 2 years after high school, shooting weddings for nothing on weekends and watching YouTube tutorials until 2 in the morning. No degree, no loans. This is the one financial advantage I have over everyone I know who went to art school and is still paying for it. Credit card debt, 0 balance carried. I pay it off every month. My card is a Chase Sapphire and I use the travel points for flights. This is genuinely the most responsible financial decision I make on a regular basis. I want that noted. Investments outside the SEPIRA, 0. Nothing in a brokerage account. I keep meaning to open one. I haven't. It's on the list. Laundry, in unit, 0. The Greystone has washer and dryer in the unit, which was the feature that sold me on the apartment before I even asked about the neighborhood. Child support paid to Mateo's mom, $1,100 a month. We share custody, roughly 50-50. She has him Sunday through Wednesday. I have him Wednesday through Saturday. It works. We are not friends, but we are functional co-parents, which I think is the highest achievement of my 30s. The $1,100 is court-ordered, and it goes out on the 1st every month without fail. Car. I drive a 2021 Subaru Outback because I am a photographer and I need to fit light stands and cases in the back, and because I pick up Mateo from school 3 days a week, and taking the L with a 7-year-old and a camera bag is a form of suffering I don't need to experience. Lease payment plus insurance plus gas is $680 a month. Parking is street parking. I have a city sticker, which is $87.81 a year, which is the only thing in this city I feel good about paying. Public transportation, $75 a month. Blue Line when I'm going downtown without the car. The Blue Line runs 24/7, which matters when I'm coming back from a late shoot. Total responsible spending, $5,115 a month. Fun and random, $650 a month. I went to see Polo G at the United Center in January, and that was an event. I go to Wicker Park Fest every summer and spend money on food and random art prints from people who are more organized than me. I bought a vintage film camera at a shop on Milwaukee Avenue that I absolutely did not need. But I also shoot film now, so I'm going to call it a business expense in my head, even if my accountant would disagree. I also spend at the Flatiron Arts Building during open studios. I always buy something because the work is good, and also I have a thing about supporting photographers in a way I wish someone had supported me at 23. Alcohol, $280 a month. I go to the Violet Hour maybe twice a month when I don't have Mateo. I drink 2 cocktails. They're excellent. They're $17 each, and I leave feeling like a person who has his life together. When I have Mateo, the drinking situation is exactly 1 glass of wine at home after he falls asleep, and that is the reality of having a kid. Ubers and Lyfts, $220 a month. Late nights mostly, airport pickups. When it's -12 in February and I need to get to a shoot on the North Shore. I try not to spend more than this, but February always lies to me. Total irresponsible spending, $1,150 a month. Eating out and delivery, $950 a month. Half the time I have Mateo, so the eating out situation includes a 7-year-old who will only eat from 4 restaurants and thinks ketchup is a food group. We do Aloha Poke on Milwaukee because he'll eat rice and chicken. We do Dove's Luncheonette when I'm feeling nostalgic and want a margarita at noon on a Saturday. I get birria tacos from a spot on North Avenue at least twice a week. And yes, I am aware that I could drive 30 minutes to my mom's house in Humboldt Park and she would feed me for free. And yes, I still order delivery sometimes anyway. And yes, she knows. And yes, she has feelings about it. Travel. $400 a month averaged. I travel for shoots. I was in Mexico City in October for a brand campaign, New York in December for an editorial job, and I take Mateo somewhere in the summer. Last year we drove to the Indiana Dunes for 3 days and he collected 17 rocks and fell asleep in the car on the way back, and it was the best $250 I've ever spent. Gear and equipment, $350 a month average. Batteries, memory cards, a new speed light in November because mine died in the middle of a shoot, a lens I've been wanting for a year that I finally bought on a good month. Gear is never done. Anyone who tells you photography doesn't cost money has never been a photographer. Gym, $85 a month. I go to a spot in Logan Square, not Equinox. I'm not paying $300 a month for a gym when I spend $350 a month on lenses. It's a good gym. They have a basketball court, which matters. Hair, $80 a month. I get a cut every 2 weeks at a barber shop on Damon. My barber's name is Nico, and he's been cutting my hair for 6 years. He knows what I want, and we talk about soccer, and he has a very strong opinion about Chivas de Guadalajara that I respect even when I disagree. Clothes, $300 a month. Half vintage, half not. I buy vintage at the shops on Milwaukee. There's a place near Damon that has good leather jackets, and I have a problem. The other half is basics. A good pair of pants for client meetings because showing up in sweats to pitch an ad agency in the West Loop is technically possible, but not recommended. Coffee, $130 a month. Dark matter on Milwaukee, every morning. Large Americano. If dark matter is closed, I have a crisis. I don't make coffee at home because my espresso machine broke 18 months ago and I viewed its death as a sign from the universe that I should just support local businesses. That's my story and I'm keeping it. Subscriptions, $130 a month. Adobe Creative Cloud, the full plan, $62 a month, which is highway robbery for a subscription to edit my own creative work. But also, Adobe has a monopoly and we all know it. Lightroom, Netflix for Mateo mostly, Spotify, iCloud, The Athletic for the sports coverage, a backup cloud storage plan for the raw files because if I lose a client's wedding, I will cease to exist as a professional. Childcare and after school, $550 a month. When I have Mateo, I need someone to pick him up from school on days I'm shooting. I use an after-school program at his CPS school on North, which is about $300. And I pay a neighbor's college-age daughter to babysit on shoot nights when I need to be out past 7. Total bonus spending, $2,975 a month. SEPA balance, $42,000. I've been contributing seriously for about 3.5 years. It's growing. Not as fast as I want, but it's growing. Cash savings, $18,000. That's it. That's the number. $201,000 in gross income last year and $18,000 in cash. Here is exactly what happened to the rest of it. Self-employment taxes eat about $23,000 a year that I never see. Business expenses, real ones, not excuses, run $38,000. I paid $12,000 into the SEPA. I paid federal and state taxes. And then there's the part I don't track as well as I should. The months when a client pays late and I'm covering rent out of savings. The month I had to replace both strobes in my studio kit, $2,000 I didn't plan for. The year Mateo needed braces consultations and I paid out of pocket because my health insurance, which I buy myself on the marketplace, doesn't cover dental. And I'll say this because it's true. I send money to my mom in Humboldt Park. Not every month, but when she needs something. Her car needed work in September. That was $800. I'm there. I grew up watching her work 2 jobs, and I am not going to let her worry about a car repair now that I can handle it. That's not tracked on a spreadsheet. It's just a fact of my life. Other investments? 0. I know, it's on the list. Total savings? $60,000, which includes the SEP IRA balance and the cash. Short term, get to $35,000 in cash within the next 18 months. Stop the months where I'm negative. Raise my commercial day rate. I've been at $2,200 for 2 years and it's time. I know photographers in this city billing at $28,000, $3,000 a day. My work is there. My billing hasn't been. Long term, I want to buy something. A condo, maybe in Logan Square or Pilsen, somewhere I can afford and somewhere that still feels like Chicago and not a theme park of Chicago. I want Mateo to have a home that doesn't change every time a lease comes up. I want a real editing space that isn't a corner of my bedroom. And I want to keep doing work I'm proud of. I've shot campaigns that ran on billboards on the Kennedy. I photographed people on the best days of their lives. I've made pictures in Mexico City and in Indiana and in apartment hallways in Humboldt Park that I still look at and think, yeah, that's why I do this. I'm a photographer in Chicago. I make $201,000 a year, and this is how I spend my money.